Okay, just hear me out before you click on the thumbs down today, okay? My argument is quite simple. Atheists should actually use the Ouija board. That's right, atheists actually should use the Ouija board. It's quite a simple argument, and I'm going to explain to you why. I'm sure you've heard the skeptical argument of the only way that the Ouija board could work is through something called the ideomotor effect. You carry on hearing the word ideomotor effect being parroted by the skeptical and atheist community all the time. And in fact, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. The mechanism by which the planchette on the Ouija board could move could in fact be due to the ideomotor effect. No problem, got no problem with that argument at all. The idea behind the ideomotor effect is that there is an idea somewhere in the mind which then affects your fingers, and therefore the planchette then starts to move. I've got nothing wrong with that particular argument. It makes an awful lot of sense. Look, it doesn't take all that much in the way of research in order to be able to find out that the mind itself is an incredibly complex subject. There's a massive body of knowledge, a body of scientific knowledge about how the mind works. And if you're going to call yourself a free thinker, why don't you think freely? I think I've got a theory as to why people who are atheists don't use the Ouija board. And that's because it might make them look silly. Yeah, surely that's a mark of a real free thinker if you're not doing something because some of your friends within the atheist community might think you're a bit silly for doing it. Yeah, right. But what if it is just the ideomotor effect which is making the planchette move on the Ouija board? Surely that's a good thing. Surely that means that with enough reason and logic, the two things that the atheists think about and believe in quite so much, you will be able to divine something about what is happening within your own mind and how you're reacting to various different forms of stimuli and ideas. Unless, of course, you're not capable of applying any reason and logic to anything. Think about it. If your mind is so complex that it could actually make your fingers move, and your finger movements could then make the planchette move and actually spell out a message, that says something about you as a complex, intelligent human being. It makes the suggestion that maybe you could actually use this device to try and find out how you work, how you operate, how you think and how you feel. And with enough extra learning and enough extra scientific research, you could actually apply that knowledge in a very intelligent manner. And maybe you'll be able to work out precisely what it is inside you that makes you do things, say things, the way in which you communicate with your friends and your family, the various intellectual and emotional forces which drive you. And surely that would actually be a good thing. Yeah, I know there's other ways of doing things such as reading, research, contemplation, even using fiction in an introspective manner. But surely the deeper you go into your own subconscious mind, the better, and the more things you can find out. Especially if you're to presuppose yourself to be a rational, free-thinking, logical individual. The only thing that I can assume as to why atheists don't use something like the Ouija board is because they're not rational and they're not logical. Because if they were rational and logical, they will be able to realize that they could use any tools at their disposal to find out more about the most complex thing in their body, namely their own brain. And when they're possessed with much more knowledge about themselves, then maybe they'll be able to act even more rationally and even more logically in the outer world. So the atheists have got to ask themselves precisely why they are not training themselves to use a Ouija board. Does it matter whether there's spirits that are communicating through the thing or not? No, of course not. Especially if you don't believe in spirits. If you only believe, so to speak, in the contents of your own mind and how that could affect the outcome of a Ouija board seance, that's good enough. Strange results can happen, namely the planchette starts moving. Isn't that wonderful? So use it. If you are logical, if you are rational, and if you are a free thinker. And if you're not, then carry on ignoring one of the more important personal exploration tools on the face of the planet.